Here we go. Welcome, everybody. And of course, as always, thanks to our sponsors, ASICS and Volvo and Electrolit and all the others, Coros watches. And anyway, thanks all of you for chiming in and staying on while I was running a little bit late. Tonight, I think will be an interesting discussion, hopefully. And let's, with that in mind, get the party started, shall we? Here we go. So the question is how do you calculate your paces based on, your training? Whoops, we just went a little too far there. There we go. How do you calculate your paces? One of the things that I've been hearing people talking about is this algorithm that is 220 minus your age equals your easy pace, you're just below your threshold pace. You kind of, shall we call it your training pace. And there's nothing that makes less sense than that equation for several reasons. And I'm going to discuss three of the reasons why that makes no sense right now. But if you ever hear somebody say, oh yeah, take 220 minus your age, and that'll give you your training pace, think twice. I mean, maybe in a long shot, maybe that'll be correct just by a freak of nature. But here's the problem with that calculation. I don't know how many of you have heard this kind of algorithm, this mathematical equation, 220 minus your age equals your training pace or whatever. Problem is when you exercise, your VO2 max can go up or down. So if it's going up or down, that means that your heart rate is going to be different based on, whatever your training pace was. Your heart rate will be higher or lower, meaning that your pace could actually be higher or lower. You're becoming more efficient, or lack of training, you're becoming less efficient. So this calculation, 220 minus your age, does nothing to calculate the volume of exercise that you're doing and the physiological changes and enhancements or loss that occurs from doing more or doing less and losing it. So there's one problem. The other is all of us human beings, it would mean, if this was going to work, that all of us had the same size of a heart. That would mean we would all be the same size person. Well, if you look around, most of you will probably notice very, very clearly, none of us are pretty much the same size. We are all different shapes and sizes. And that's a wonderful thing. It gives us individuality. But the problem is according to this calculation, we are all the same size, meaning we all have the same heart size. And even in the same size, height, and build of a person, two people may have a different heart size. And if you have a different size to your heart, bigger or smaller, that means your stroke rate will be different. Meaning, if your stroke rate is pumping blood through your entire body, and you need to pump so much blood in each stroke, and stroke rate, with each stroke of your heart through your entire body. So if your heart is bigger, you can obviously pump more blood. So your stroke rate will be lower. If you can pump, if your heart is smaller, you need to pump more often, which means that your beats per minute will be higher. Now, that is going to change your heart rate. So that doesn't work either, because your heart size could be different. The other thing is all ages are not the same. I mean, have you ever seen a 70-year-old and a 70-year-old, or a 20-year-old and a 20-year-old? They have totally different ability levels in terms of fitness and in terms of endurance. Just because you're the same age does not mean you have the same ability level. And far be it from that being a reality. So the next time somebody says to you 220 minus your age will give you your heart rate of your training pace, tell them, there's something really wrong to that. So that one does not work. Here's the next thing. Watches have these kind of algorithms built into them that will kind of give you your zones. They usually use zones 1 through 5. And we, as hopefully you all know by now, zone 2 is also the equal of easy pace. So most of your training, you want to be in zone 2, which is probably on your watch, and that's equal to what we call easy pace. And we call it easy pace because we want it to feel easy. Now, the problem with those watches is the algorithms they don't always work. And they're generally geared to the average person, whatever that is. And there are, similar to the 220 minus your age thing, there are elements to that algorithm that aren't really good for everybody. So just because your watch says that you're in zone 2 heart rate, and that's where your training pace is supposed to be, think twice about that watch and that algorithm that's telling you you're in zone 2. The watches are getting better. The algorithms in the watches are getting better. I'm told that even my watch that I'm wearing, the Coros Pacer 2, the 3 that just came out a few weeks ago, is actually better with heart rate in the wrist. It's better at calculating. And by the way, older watches that were terrible with wrist-based heart rate. So they wouldn't really be able to calculate zone 2 or zone 3 or 4 anyway very well. But newer ones are better, yes, but still questionable. So there again, we still don't completely 100% know, how do you calculate your training paces? You can do certain tests. For example, you can run slowly, low heart rate, listen to your breathing for about 20 minutes just to warm up. It does take a while to get your heart rate up to that training level zone 2, what we call easy pace. So run about 20 minutes and then turn your watch on. Just hit the button while you're still going. Don't stop. Just keep going and hit that button, and then run easy for another 20 minutes. Really low heart rate, really comfortably. See what your pace, when you get home, you can check out what your paces are. You can check out what your heart rate is. If your heart rate at some point has gone a little too high, your run has gone a little too fast, you'll know, okay, that's not quite it. I need to slow it down. Same thing with finding like threshold pace. You can run for 20 minutes a little harder, and then do 20 minutes more, turn your watch on while you're going, and run 20 minutes more at threshold pace, like really hard, what you might consider like a 10K pace. You could even do like a 5K or 10K and watch on and see what your data shows. Those are fairly good ways of finding training, different levels of training, heart rate and pace. And even power output. If you're lucky enough to have a higher end watch, although my cheapo Pacer Coros watch does have power output, but most, like the Garmin high-end watches, do have power output, which is also a great way to find different training levels, but based on power. So that would be a third thing that you could gauge test on, this running test on, is power output. Keep in mind, all watch companies generally have different levels of ratioed scale of power output. In other words, power for Garmin or Polar or Sunto or Coros is pretty much the same. It's pretty much different with one of those systems, meaning that like Celsius and Fahrenheit, Celsius for freezing is 0, and the same exact thing in Fahrenheit is 32 degrees. Well, the numbering of power output on these different watches are all different, just like Celsius and Fahrenheit. So don't gauge your power output based on somebody else's power meter or somebody else's watch or somebody else's power output. You have to gauge it really on your own. So there's another thing that we can do called VDOT. So let me stop sharing this one and let me go show you guys something. And I'm going to share this one. Whoops. Wait a minute. Sorry. I'm going to share this one. And where is it? Here we go. You can probably all see this. It says V.02. This is actually a calculator. You can find it on your cell phone. It's called V.02. You can get it on any app store. And here it is. I don't know if you can see it. It's that little green V dot with a white background on any app store. Do not pay for it. There's no reason to pay any money for this thing. You can pay like $10 to get rid of all advertising, but there's very little advertising on it. And you just click the X and it goes away right away. No need to pay a penny. So I'm going to move this out of the way here. So you punch in your event distance. So we'll call it marathon. Say you're in the 4 hour, let's call it 5 hour marathon group. So you type in 5 hours, right? And then you click calculate. And it shows that your 5 hour marathon will be at a pace of 11:27. You can even do advanced features, add in altitude or a hot day, and it's going to change the calculation on all your paces for that marathon. But you'll note if you go down to the very bottom, and it's similar, sort of pretty similar on the app. This is just bigger, more spread out. The bottom of the app will show race paces or your calculator, which you just saw. It also shows training paces, which I'm about to show you, and also equivalent races, which I'll show you now. If you pull this up, let me get this out of the way. If you pull this up, it'll show, this is kind of interesting, I think. Here's your 5 hour marathon. Here is the calculation, which some of your watches do, but questionably so. Here's your calculation on a 5 hour marathon. You are probably able to run a half marathon at 2:26, a 10K at 1:06:07, a 5K at 31:47, and a 1 mile at 9:32. Those are your probable ability levels at different distances. Now you'll notice the pace is for all of these right here on this column they're all different because you're going farther. And you'll note the farther you go, 11:27, 11:09, 10K, 10:38, your paces are all faster the shorter the distance. Got it? 2 miles, 10:01. But here's the problem with it, and also where this calculator gets really interesting, is that if you're doing more speed work, and it's always good to take a look at this calculator, see what you find. If you're doing more speed work, or you're mistakenly doing your training too fast, you can actually have a slower marathon time, and in reality, a faster, shorter distance, like a faster 5K. So if you plugged in a 5 hour, you knew you could do a 5 hour, you just finished a 5 hour, and you want to know what your 5K is, and it says 31:47, and you go out and you do a 28-minute 5K, that means that your training, too much of your training is too fast for marathon training. Now, it's been really good for 5K training because you just knocked some time off your 5K on what it could be if you come in at like 28 minutes and it's supposed to be 31:47. Got the picture? But the reverse is also true. If you're doing too much slow training, and your 5K comes in at like 33 minutes, for example, slower than what's anticipated, and you then come in like 4:58 or something of your marathon, or faster than anticipated, then you know maybe you could speed up a little of your training. Got that? So if this calculator is really off kilter, see where it's off kilter. If the marathon is too fast, then maybe, and you're training for a marathon, that's a good thing. But you're doing a lot of slow-based training, and you could probably do maybe a little more fast-based training, which will speed up your shorter distances. Does that make sense? Now, is this perfectly aligned, this algorithm that's supposed to work for everybody on the planet? Oh, heck no. It's not bad, I find, in putting you in the ballpark of where you sort of almost want to be. But there again, and it's also really good at calculating, am I doing too much speed work? Have I been doing too much slow work? You know, it is fairly good at indicating that. I find very clearly that is true. But take it again also with a grain of salt. And when you're doing easy pace, make sure you listen to your breathing first and foremost. And all of these numbers and all of these algorithms and the watch and the calculator and all of that stuff, they're all well and good. None of them are really perfect because you are a perfect example of you. And no one else is you except you. And that is a wonderful thing for all of us. And sometimes we may need to slow down our training. Sometimes we need to speed up our training to get it right for the thing we're training for. But, you know, and in general, more speed work speeds you up for the shorter distance. In general, more slow work speeds you up for the longer distances, which are slower. So all good there, as long as you take it all with a grain of salt. And with that, I am going to open the floor. I hope that wasn't too long. I'm going to stop sharing that one. And thank again all of you for watching online. I am done with my little mini lecture. And does anyone have any questions who's online that the people at home, while we're still recording, can maybe learn something from? And this will, if you missed any of this, this will be online this evening. I'll repost it. I'll post it on our YouTube channel with a link to our Facebook page as soon as I get off and it uploads. Any questions verbally, or I'm not checking, let me look at the chat. There we go. Do we have any in the chat box? It's like circling around the little thing looking for chat. Oh, right now I see none. If any of you want to say something or have a question, just scroll your cursor across the screen as I'm doing now and click on the mute button so you unmute yourself. And there we go. That would be me. My God, my hair is a mess. I ran in here. Oh, Lolette, you're in Belize.
Yes, Coach David.
Wow.
And I have a question.
Yeah, hi.
Is it too late to sign up for the marathon? I haven't signed up, but I'm training and I want to run it again.
Great. No, it is definitely not too late to sign up for the marathon. It is sadly too late to sign up for the Rose Bowl half. That one shockingly is sold out way in advance. I'm stunned. It's sold out like 5 weeks or something in advance, 6 weeks in advance.
Oh, wow.
Unbelievable. I don't think it's ever happened that way before. Rarely does it even sell out. I think this is a new trend. This is going to be the new normal. Marathon, and I can give you a code. Any of you want to give a code to friends or family for the LA Marathon? This is 10% off. Keep in mind, the LA Marathon will soon raise their rates. They always do. They have these incremental sales, and once they reach a certain incremental sale or amount of sales, like, you know, 5,000, 10,000, whatever it is, they raise their rates 10%. So exactly. Julie just called it out from the other room. It is the year 2024. Julie, Julie, and 10 for 10%. So all one word, 2024, Julie 10, or Julie, 24, the numbers, and 10, the number 102024. Julie, Julie, and 10, all together, no spaces, 2024, Julie 10.
Thanks, Coach David.
That'll get you 10%. It'll always
Thank you.
get 10%. Unfortunately, when they raise the price 10%, it'll take you back to where you are now. So you may want to sign up sooner than later. As long as you know you're going to do it, it is cheaper now than later.
I think today is the last day and they're going to raise the price tomorrow or the next day. She may want to check that out.
Oh, there you go. I don't
Okay.
know when they're raising the price next. Oh, Julie just said it might be the 15th, 16th.
So that's in 2 days.
Tomorrow midnight could theoretically be the last day, and then they raise it 10%, and you're right back to where you are today without the coupon. But with the coupon, you'll be at the same price. But
Okay.
get it, tomorrow or tonight, and you'll save 10%.
Thank you.
Sure, of course. Thank you for asking. Good question. Joanne, you said slow training helps you with long distances and whoops. Can you elaborate, please? I do feel like I'm getting faster. Isn't that amazing? There are certain, and I assume, Joanne, you're getting faster from doing a lot of low heart rate, slow stuff like what we do on the weekend. That's easy pace, the slow stuff on the weekend. The key is that there are certain physiological changes that enable you to utilize fat more efficiently when you're training at low heart rate. The reason we don't do a whole run starting at marathon race pace is because throughout longer runs, your heart rate's going up and 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 up. And eventually you're going to get to a point where you're no longer at a heart rate where you're going to gain those physiological changes that we call endurance. Got it? And I'll tell you what those are in a moment. But you want that low heart rate to build those physiological changes to build endurance, right? Because you're going a long way on a marathon, 26.2 miles, obviously. So that's why we start slow, and that's why we do all this low intensity stuff and maintain that lower than marathon race pace kind of thing. Excuse me, that lower than marathon race pace. Got it? We're going slower than marathon race pace. The three major things that you gain is, and keep in mind, fat is a far greater resource for fuel than glycogen. Glycogen comes from blood sugar, which comes from carbohydrate. Carbohydrate becomes blood glucose, blood sugar, same thing, becomes glycogen, resides right in your muscle, this honey-like substance right in your muscle. It is a limited reservoir. As your heart rate goes up and up and up and up, you're using more glycogen and you're using less fat. Fat is far more productive in terms of volume of it, and it's utilized more slowly. Glycogen, you have like 80-90 minute window. There is a lecture on 80-90 minutes already on YouTube if you want to check for that. Really defines all of that. Capillary veins and arteries, the three things you get at low heart rate, you don't get at higher heart rate. Capillary veins and arteries, blood flow going into and meaning more nutrients, more oxygen, all of that. Blood flow going into the muscle from your arteries, and waste product going out of your muscles through your veins back to the heart, right? So a lot of waste product gases like hydrogen that comes from lactic acid, nitrogen, CO2, all those gases go back from your muscle where they're created as waste product, and they go back out through your heart and lungs, through your cells, and you exhale them and get rid of those gases. So all good there. That's one of the reasons, one of the major ways we gain speed going slow, low heart rate. I don't want to say slow because you go up a hill, that can easily become high heart rate. And we don't want to do that. When you go up a hill, you want to maintain low heart rate. Going up hills will build strength, which we want, but we want to keep the paces down when you're going up a hill in training. And even in racing, you don't want to, the higher your heart rate, the more glycogen you're using. You don't want to deplete that glycogen reservoir too soon in the race, or you're going to be in trouble. You're going to hit the wall. A lot of people feel, if you ask, so when, it's a trick question, when do you hit the wall? A lot of people say like mile 20, mile 22, somewhere around there. That is wrong. The right answer is you don't hit the wall, meaning running running low on glycogen. When you run low on glycogen, you feel like you're pushing through a wall. You have like low energy. You're really struggling to keep going. Your body may just suddenly shut down and you'll start walking, even though you feel fine. You don't want to hit the wall and run low on glycogen because you've run too high a heart rate too long, or you haven't taken in enough gels or anything in the form of carbohydrate to keep your glycogen levels up there. You don't want to hit the wall till your foot is across the finish line, about to land off the course, and you're done. That's when you want to hit the wall. That's the perfect race. But you don't want to raise your heart rate too high on those hills, especially the first 6 miles becomes absolutely critical to the running of the LA Marathon. There is already a long, like 55-minute lecture on just the first 6 miles of the LA Marathon. I think it's pretty critical. We're going to roll it out. It's already up there. We're going to roll it out probably in like 3 weeks, 2 weeks on Facebook and in your newsletter. The link to it, it's already there if you want to look for it. It's on our LA Roadrunner channel on YouTube. So go to YouTube, search for LA Roadrunners, look for our newest round logo with the navy blue and the bright letters LARR. That's the newest channel. And that's where all those videos are. If you click on videos, not on home for our page, but anyway, click on videos, you'll find all of them. There's probably about 20 hours to binge. If you have nothing better to do except sit on a couch because you're really, really sick, I recommend them, but you'll probably put you to sleep, which may be a good thing. Anyway, there you go. Hopefully that answered your question. How does it, so hopefully that answered why low heart rate, slow workout works, benefits your longer distances, and why you're getting faster, which is all good. You're doing low heart rate work. Good for you. Joanne, good question. Alicio, thank you for your talk today, Coach. I have been trying to slow down in my training, but my Apple Watch still shows high rate. Do you think it is a problem with the device or my fitness level? Well, the Apple Watch has really pretty good heart rate in the wrist. It's probably the Apple Watch, I must say, from the reviews that I've been looking at, probably has, now I'm talking wrist heart rate based, not the heart rate strap. That one still goes to Polar, but wrist heart rate, Apple may have the best wrist heart rate watch, what we call an occipital reader, your wrist heart rate, of any watch on the market. Apple does. The problem is where does their algorithm work It's been getting better. I have real problems with the Apple Ultra 3 even, because it really doesn't integrate recovery very well. To be truthful, I'm kind of waiting and excited by the Apple Ultra 4, which is inexpensive. They're like $700-800, something like that. They're not cheap at all. And, you know, these other watch companies, all of them, integrate recovery and give you statistics on how much you've recovered on, you know, from all your training, how much sleep you've done. And well, yeah, they'll give you sleep numbers, but all this company's sleep numbers are somewhat questionable. But Apple, you know, will probably give you a good heart rate. The question is their algorithm that shows you what I believe they go by zones. Does their zone calculator work accurately? And that one is a long shot. I really don't know. Does their algorithm work with their heart rate and calculate zones correctly? Yeah, I don't know. I fear the worst on that one. You know, I fear all these watches and their algorithms that calculate, like I showed you with the VDOT thing, that calculate the marathon anticipated finish time and the 5K and the 10K half, all that. You know, they're not the best because we are all individuals. So, you know, I hesitate to say that that's a way to go, is just look at your watch and you'll know you're in zone 2. Really tough one. The key is listen to your breathing. If you're really low heart rate, if your breathing is indicative of what your heart rate does. If your breathing is low and you're almost unaware of it, like you are probably right now, sitting still, you're probably in the right ballpark. The one problem you may have is that you may not be able to go as slow as what you need to do in order to go aerobically in easy pace. In other words, you may not have recruited, you know, like half the muscles in your body are dormant. And you need to recruit slow twitch muscle fibers in order to go slow enough to go low heart rate. So when you're looking at this thing that's saying, you know, you got to go slow down, slow down, slow down, that may actually be accurate. We don't know, but it may actually be accurate. And you may not be able to go that slow. You may be able to go faster, you know, way faster. And again, your training may determine some of the outcomes of this, especially if you're training too fast. You know, your speed will be great, but your low heart rate, all those muscles, those slow switch muscle fibers that you need to go slower, may be dormant, and you need to recruit them. And the way you do that is walk a few steps. Doesn't matter if you're a walker, runner, or whatever. If you're a walker, you know, walk slowly a few steps and slowly speed up. If you're a run, walker, or runner, in order to get your run slower, walk a few steps and then slowly start to speed up and get up to what you think is the appropriate pace. And then after a few minutes, walk just a few steps and then slowly start to speed up again. Do that again and again and again and again. After 3 weeks of just wanting to murder me because this is enormous, torturous hell that we're putting you through, all this stop, walk, start, walk, run, slow, speed up. You'll be able to, you will have recruited slow twitch muscle fibers in order to run slower. Keep in mind, marathon race pace can easily be, this is runners only. Runners only. Marathon race pace can easily be a minute to a minute and a half slower than, easy pace can be a minute and a half slower than marathon race pace, which is shocking, right? Now, most of your pace leaders are, I'm talking run only here. I'll talk about run and walk a minute. But most of your pace leaders are really slowing it down like a minute only. They're not going down to a minute and a half as they could. There is a 30-second range. You know, it shows it right on their signs, easy pace, and there's a range, right? They could go slower. But look at that sign, you know, before you start and see what that easy pace range is. You may be shocked to see what that easy pace range is and how much slower it is than marathon race pace. But that's really where you want to be in these training runs. We will have some marathon race pace, especially on flat ground by the beach or in Griffith Park on flat ground or Newport Beach, where it's flat in the area. That'll give you the feeling of marathon race pace. Now, run walkers, your area for zone 2 is pretty much a little faster, a little slower than your marathon race pace that's right in the middle. So run walkers, this doesn't really apply to you guys. And walkers, you guys are actually training a little faster than your marathon race pace. Your marathon race pace actually needs to be slower because you're out there so incredibly long periods of time. I know Joe out there was our slowest runner, walker last year. He came in around 9:45. Great guy. I was there to see him cross the finish line. I will be there to see him cross the finish line this year too. But you know, your race day is actually going to be slower than your training day, days. For walkers, that's walkers only. So anyway, let's see. Hopefully I got that one. Oh, Alicia said thank you. Good. Okay, hopefully that did. Any other questions typed into the chat or verbally? Anybody have questions? Anything? More questions going once? More questions going twice? More questions going 3 times? Yeah, do I hear somebody? No? Oh, Alicia said, thank you for your talk today. I read that one already. So good. Does anyone have any injury questions? I always like to keep those for the last. Anybody injury question, achiness, soreness, whatever? Is everybody doing well? I do confess 16 milers are the ones that I hate because that's when all the injuries come out of the woodwork. So if you guys have any aches or pains, please see our physical therapists this Saturday. They are free. Our massage people are going to be out there for free this Saturday. You can get a free massage. Just get online and sign up. And we're also having the huge potluck. Please, no alcohol, anybody at our potluck. But those of you who want to join the potluck, you're all welcome. And just bring a little dish. It could be something, you pick up from the, food section at Ralph's where they dump pasta in a little, plastic container. It could be chopped fruit. It could be something you want to make at home. It could be anything, bagels or something. What I find does not work is store-bought cookies, because store-bought cookies are all well and good, but there are a few people who will make homemade cookies, and the store-bought cookies just get shoved to the side and the bags never even get open because the homemade cookies are, may even still be a little warm, are really looking great. And who the heck wants a store-bought cookie when you got this homemade thing staring you in the face? And or brownie or whatever it is. I'm not saying any of you have to cook anything at home, but please for our potluck in the parking lot after our run, but please no alcohol. I was told by security people last year that normally in the Dodger Stadium parking lot, when they see alcohol, they call the police arrest the people with the alcohol. We do own the parking lot, so that didn't happen last year. They let us go, but we really want to maintain a good relationship with the security people at Dodger Stadium. So please, no alcohol there. There will be other times when we can have truckloads of alcohol and you can all crawl home, hopefully not drive home, but not this Saturday. Morissette, always very informative session. Thank you, Coach. Thank you. Joanne, how do we sign up for the massage? Oh, there you will see an awning with a bunch of these little massage beds, and it's from LA Sports Massage. So look for the LA Sports Massage awning. I think their awning is branded, with LA Sports Massage. Go there as soon as you get there and sign in. And for a massage after the run, after you go. And they're great. They're in 2 locations now, in Westwood and in Venice, on Washington Boulevard in Venice. And I used to know the guy who started it, and he's just a great guy. And we used to swear by their massages, and it's all sports massage. It's all really digging in. If that's what you need. They do all sorts of different stuff. They'll do more gentle if you need that. They're really, really good. I like that company, LA Sports Massage, a lot. DJ, thank you, Coach. Love these. Oh, excellent. DJ, thank you very much for that. And Morissette, there is a food drive on the list. Are we supposed to bring canned goods? You don't have to. You are absolutely, we love if you bring canned goods for, I gather they're going to like a homeless shelter, or I'm not sure what the company is that they're collecting canned goods for. I forgot, I should know this, but yeah, all good. If everybody brought a can of something that's just been sitting in your closet that's still good, your pantry, yeah, please bring a can of just some food. Help the some hungry people. There are a lot of hungry people in the United States, sad to say. Very sad. Anybody else? Anything in the chat, or you want to say verbally? Just unmute yourself. Just scroll across the screen and click the mute button, and you can talk. Anybody else? I see somebody just actually joined and somebody left. Anyway, anybody else? Questions? Going once? Going twice? Going 3 times? Okie doke. Well, I thank you all, and I will stay on just a moment longer in case anybody thinks of a question really quick, but I am going to turn off our recording and thank all of the people at home for watching this, who watched the recording, and all of you who did it live, obviously, but I'm not hanging up on you yet. But thanks, everybody. Well, looking
Thanks,
forward.
Coach.
Well, you got it. Thank you. And looking forward to seeing everybody on Saturday. It should be a fun run. Little hilly, rolling hills, nothing too horrible. And we'll see you Saturday. Great. And good night. I'm turning off the recording.